Well, I want to say something really quick about the safety part of it. Like Adam said, I don't think this is going to really change a whole lot about what Adam and I sort of talk about and ideate when it comes to safety. Um, there's a whole lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't see that are safety related, and sometimes they do see it. And there have been times, and the example I like to use a lot is when we were doing bullet ricochets, where we had solenoids wired up to the trigger of a gun, and despite the fact that you could unplug the electronics and not have anybody on that trigger, there's still another layer of unexpectedness. And so he had on a full riot shield in front of him to load up this thing to then retreat back to safety to pull the trigger and everything. And there were quite a few people making fun of him for the extra step of safety. And that's been our paradigm for a very long time. And it's always increased and developed more and more as the channel's gone on. And so people will see the accident video and just think it was us messing around with RPGs, but they don't see everything that went on behind the scenes to try to be as prepared and safe as possible. There's 3 other RPG episodes that are in the middle of coming out that were filmed beforehand, and we weren't even shooting the RPGs off our shoulders. They were rigged up to something with a pull string. He was in an excavator bucket, and I was behind a huge mound of dirt, way far away, hiding behind it. And that was our initial approach, was like, how do we be as safe as possible, accurate, and still get good footage? And that's always been our default. And then at the end of the day, it's like, do you want to fire an RPG? It's like, okay, yeah, I'll fire it once or twice, because who would say no to that? And then of course that's when something goes wrong. So I don't think it's going to change much for the channel. It just sort of reinforces why we do what we do in the way that we do it. Maybe we'll show a little bit more of that on camera. I'm just hoping that the people that do make fun of some of those things now see why we do it, and maybe won't think that way anymore, and maybe develop a little bit more safety in their lives, apparently.
Well, knowing, I notice and see a lot of the safety stuff that you guys implement. And the reason why I asked that question was because of what you have said during the video, where people have made fun of Adam in the past because he's being safety. And my whole point for asking that question was basically to make a statement that you can be super prepared, and still sometimes random shit will happen.
Yep.
And if you're just fucking around and it's like 2 guys here, hold my beer, watch this, like that's when really bad shit is going to happen. Right. And this is just an example of, you take all the precautions and still something untoward happened. Right. Like, and if you hadn't taken all the safety precautions, like, and I make this comment in my commentary video, like, I see so much stuff, you guys are content creators. So like me, you're on the internet checking shit out all the time. And I see so much stuff now that comes through my feed where, like, I just think, oh my God, like the craziness of what these people are doing. And they have, like, they don't know what they don't know. Right. And it's just,
but they will know eventually.
Well, no, for sure. But like that's the one thing, I'm in Canada, you guys in the United States, we have different laws about firearms. And I'm a little bit bitter because the liberals right now are trying to take away all of our firearms. So that's making me a little bit sad. But the one thing that's good about that is that not everybody can just go and get a firearm. And that when I see the kinds of things that people do on the internet, and a lot of these people are American, I think to myself, oh my God, man, I wish there were more regulations just so that people couldn't do stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it kind of ruins the overall image of, proper firearm safety implementations. But like another quick thing with what Bryce was just talking about, I mean, if you had asked somebody in the context outside of this video, hey, do you want to shoot an RPG-7? I honestly don't know of many people that would shoot a gun that would say no to shooting an RPG-7.
Mhm.
So that thing cooking off and blowing up on me is a one in incalculable, happenstance.
Yeah, there's a reason it's so shocking when it does happen. There's a reason for that.
So then, like, to the safety thing, when we were firing it, we didn't load any high explosives in the warhead because we were studying the backblast. So there's no reason for it to blow up, up front. So say we had just ditched all of the other safety stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot the dummy. It'll look better on camera instead of being tied to a water thing. If you watch the torso video when it didn't have anything on it, the first one, the torso's too soft and it just bounces off. So now here's Adam standing, 25, 30 yards away from a UXO. And so who knows? I mean, it's a UXO for a reason. And so now Adam is in the wide open, 30 feet away from, I don't remember how much high explosive is in it, that could just randomly cook off at any second. So now I've got to sprint back and do all this stuff. Or you strap it to a water thing, you peek out, oh, it didn't go. And then none of it's on the camera, but as soon as we're like, oh, that one didn't go, the guy that's in charge of all the explosives is yelling, UXO, UXO, stay in place, stay in place. And then he himself, after his timetable and everything, goes out, detonates it in place, and then he alerts everybody, scene safe, scene safe, scene safe. And then everybody iterates it. So like when he's like, range hot, range hot, range hot, everybody just pairs it, range hot. Like, so everybody's just yelling it. And then when everybody goes quiet, that's when the video comes back in. So that's the stuff that, like, it would just be annoying if it was in the video.
Yeah, well,
but it has to happen.
And there's like, that's kind of stuff that in some situations I would like to have in the edit. There's been so many times where just Adam firing a gun at a target and then he'll clear the weapon and say weapon clear, that him doing that alone has annoyed some of our audience. Because they're just like, you guys are being pretentious. We don't need to hear that the gun is, clear. And it's like, I'm pretty sure my life walking up to those cameras is more important than you not wanting to hear a sentence. You know what I mean? It's like that just reaffirms how much goes on behind the scenes that most people will never see, that is very focused on communicating and safety and all of that stuff. And we miss out on a lot of like what other channels do, where they just kind of go to a range, blow stuff up, shoot stuff, do whatever they want, because ours are run like film sets and, with range safety, and it's very slow and methodical, but it's a little bit less fun, but it's a lot more safe.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting, like I think about every time we go to the range. As medical professionals in the military, we're purple trade, right? Like we're not necessarily, like I'm Army, but I could be Army and still on a Navy ship, or I could be in the Air Force. So we're purple trade. We go wherever. So when we do our annual recertifications, they're just trying to make sure that we don't kill each other, so they always make us recert together. So it's all the med people together. And I think about how we do range, how we do our range recertification. And I spend some time on the range because I'm outside of the military. I'm certified. So I have my own AR-15. I have my own handgun, SIG P320, and I go to the range and practice, because if I'm going to shoot, if I ever have to shoot something, I want to make sure I can hit it. So I do that, but not all of us do that. And some of them only pick up the firearm once a year when we do the recertification. And the range is very much the way that you run your videos. But it's that way for a reason, right? Because like there have been numerous times when I'm on the range and I have somebody beside me who's not very familiar with firearms. They underestimate how easy it is to laze somebody because a pistol is only this long, right? And like it's easy to light somebody up, and they don't realize. And you watch people do shit, and you're like, holy crap! And to think, again, I can't comment. I'm not American, so I can't comment on the Second Amendment. But knowing how easy it is for people to do stupid shit, if they have no formal training, then it makes you understand why things need to be the way they are when you go to the range. Because it's easy to get lit up, man. It's easy for things to happen. And I've been on courses and had I've seen lots of accidental discharge, negligent discharges, man. Like I've seen several. So
yeah, and it's one of those things. It's, I don't know. It's like often equated. It's like, I would never do that.
yeah.
But on the other hand, it does happen, and sure, 99% of the time it goes off into the dirt, and yeah, you just look like an idiot. But it's that 1%. Someone's dead now.
Yes.
And now there's funerals. Mom's got to bury her kid, all because you wouldn't take something serious for the 2 hours that you are involved in this activity.
Yep.
And
or you wanted to look cool on Instagram or get a cool Snapchat video or whatever.
And it's I don't know how common this is for other people, but like there's a lot of times I've been to ranges and just the existence of the person in the range next to you makes you constantly have this like background noise of discomfort because you can tell already they're not very well versed in their firearm, and whether it's they're constantly fumbling or just not handling things well, and now you're constantly a little uncomfortable the entire time you're there because you're worried about, or is he going to do something dumb 10 seconds from now. And it's a part of the gun industry, unfortunately, but it's something I wish people would pay more attention to.
I wouldn't ever personally, just as a kind of like a constitutionalist purist for the most part, I would never push for like a mandatory training course or permutation or anything like that. I just wish that we could get society in the mindset of realizing how serious firearms are and how important it is to, if you're going to go buy one, go get some training with it. So I'm an FFL myself, and so I have people come in all the time to pick up their firearms. And you can immediately tell which one is picking up his 50th versus his first. And so I've had many people that I can just kind of tell that they don't really know what they're doing. And so I just tell them like, hey, this weekend, come back and I will give you a course on how to use this. And they're like, oh, how much does that cost? I do not charge for it. It's absolutely free. You bring the ammo. I will teach you how to be safe with this. I'm not going to run you through how to clear a house. But I'm going to teach you how to, not accidentally shoot yourself in the foot while you're cleaning it and stuff like that. And I just wish more people would they're out there. Any gun shop, I have a feeling, would tell you exactly how to do this. If not, I don't know. Call me and I'm going to call them and ream their ass, because as a federal firearms licensee holder, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Again, I'm a Canadian, so I can't really comment on the Second Amendment and people have people take me seriously. But when I look to our situation in Canada, I think to myself, as a gun owner, like I see a lot of content from the United States and people, the Second Amendment, we should be able to do whatever the fuck we want, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And I think to myself, I think that's the wrong approach. Because for people who have no education or understanding of guns, all they hear are politicians who want to take them away, and then they see associated with it this picture or a video of some guy going, "Over my dead body, you're going to take." And I think that's the wrong approach. And what it should be is the gun community, as we as gun owners, should be saying, you know what? This behavior that people are doing over here is bad news. Like, we don't support that, and these people should be properly trained, and we espouse a position that says that people who own guns should store them responsibly, use them responsibly, and they should be properly trained. And we should be saying that. At least that's what I feel in Canada, because when the public who are not gun owners hear what the politicians say, and then they see people going, "Over my dead body," then they go, "Well, you look like psychos, and the politicians say you're psychos, so
right."
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I just wish it was a little more natural. I mean, everything is, all back in my day. But I mean, back in my dad's day, they took firearm safety courses in school.
Yes.
Everybody just knew how to do it. Because, I mean, to me, if you're going to have the most heavily armed population on the planet, to me, it made no sense to remove the education of how these things work from the general public. I never understood that. I mean, it'll never come back. I mean, there's no way that they're going to revert to that. But yeah, it's and growing up with guns, it's crazy to me that some people don't know how they work. I mean, that's just like I guess a point of privilege of just understanding my entire life. To see people like, you've never shot a gun before, really? It's crazy.